We often treat identity theft as a financial crime, but a more pervasive theft occurs when we lose track of who we actually are. This happens when we outsource our sense of self-worth to a spreadsheet of comparisons, checking how we stack up against everyone else to decide if we matter. This mechanism is the social mirror. We look to the shifting opinions, perceptions, and biases of the people around us to provide our reflection. But the social mirror provides a warped perspective, much like a carnival funhouse mirror. The images it reflects are often projections of other people's own character weaknesses and personal anxieties, rather than an accurate view of our potential. Relying on this distorted reflection means living by default. You end up acting out a script written by your family, your coworkers, and your circumstances, a script you never actually signed off on. We stay stuck in front of that mirror because of a psychological trap called determinism. It's the belief that our current reflection is the only one we will ever have. Society pushes 3 maps of determinism to explain away our agency. There's genetic determinism, blaming your DNA, psychic determinism, blaming your upbringing, and environmental determinism, blaming your boss or the economy. Because we have a deep-seated need for acceptance, we often absorb these maps as absolute truths. We let these labels form a cage that makes growth feel impossible. This creates a reactive mindset where we lean on victim language. We tell ourselves, "That's just the way I am," or "I can't help it, look at my environment." Accepting these maps strips us of our power. We effectively absolve ourselves of responsibility, letting external conditions dictate our internal identity. To break the cycle of determinism, we have to lean into a uniquely human capability, self-awareness. This timeline illustrates a vital psychological breakthrough. Between any external stimulus and our eventual response, there is a distinct, manageable gap. We can step into that space by developing an inner life. When we observe our own thoughts, we realize we are separate from our moods and the labels others try to pin on us. In this space, we can choose to reject the carnival mirror. We can anchor our identity to internal, steady principles, rather than the volatile world of external comparisons. Utilizing that gap is the difference between being a secondary creation of someone else's agenda and finally scripting your own life. Once we recognize how much our own identity was shaped by the mirrors others held up to us, we have to acknowledge that we are playing that same role for everyone in our lives. We are their social mirror. The weight of this responsibility is clear in a well-known study from England, where a computer error accidentally swapped student files. A group of bright students was labeled dumb, while the dumb class was labeled bright. The teachers operated based on this new information. They looked at the struggling students through a lens of high potential, reflecting back a vision of intelligence and capability. Because the teachers believed their students were gifted, they became proactive. They didn't give up when methods failed. They adapted their teaching to meet that perceived potential, and the students actually succeeded. This is the principle behind the story of Man of La Mancha. When you consistently reflect a vision of nobility back to a person, you give them the evidence they need to eventually believe it themselves. By refusing to accept the distortions of the carnival mirror for ourselves, we gain the clarity to reflect the unseen potential in others. We become the clear mirror they need to see who they can actually become.